Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is stage 6 of Volta Catalunya. 175 kilometers with a little bit of difficulty at the finish of today's stage, because at 115 miles, when you're hitting the last bigger climb on the stage at over 6 kilometers long and over 6%, we know it's possible that we could see some action on that climb. But when you went to bed last night, you figured today was going to be a field sprint. Well, when you woke up this morning, it got a little bit more interesting because the promoters took out that last 2-kilometer bump with about 10 kilometers to go on the stage, on today's stage. That means the last climb at 6% and 6 kilometers just there over is going to be the most difficult obstacle at the finish of today's race. But it's going to summit with 27 kilometers to go, which means most of the sprinters here at Catalunya, who aren't pure sprinters, with the exception of Kaden Groves, he's pretty much a pure sprinter. But when you're talking about riders like Cocard from Cofidis, that's a little bit different. He can climb. So the pure sprinters, they have some hope to be able to get over this climb, this 6-kilometer climb with 27 kilometers to go, and make it a full field sprint at the end of today's stage. That's going to change the chemistry quite a bit, because now all of a sudden when you're talking about the breakaway riders, you got some sprint teams back there that want to make it a field sprint instead of, if they left in that last big 2-kilometer steep climb to the finish, maybe the sprinter teams might have had a different MO on today's stage. So when the racing starts, I want to take you all the way to the finish, because this is Carlos Verona from Movistar. He's given his interview after being in the breakaway all day and finishing today's stage 6. He says in his interview that it was a block headwind up there, crazy aggressive, riders tacking all over, and because of the headwind, it was hard to get away. What he's talking about with the headwind is when the riders attack, it's so slow when they get into the wind that the pace isn't very fast, and the riders behind in the peloton that are sitting on, their legs are staying fresh because they're spinning as they have a rider in front of them, so when they jump across, they can jump across with a lot of power, which means the peloton makes it complicated for a breakaway to get away, because all those riders sitting back in the peloton are fresh, while the riders that get out in the wind attacking, they got a full block headwind on them. That's slowing them down. The riders back there have time to think about, get themselves in position and jump across. So that's why you're not seeing any breakaways happening early in today's stage 6 of Volta Catalunya. With that in mind, when the cameras come on, we do have 6 riders in the breakaway, and Carlos Verona from Movistar is one of them. He's up there, and the other guy I want you to pay attention in this group of 6 is going to be Quickstep, because it's Fausto Masnada up in this group, which means when you get onto this 6-kilometer climb that'll summit with 27K to go, that's always a rider that possibly Remco Evenepoel, second on the general classification here to Primoz Roglic, he can possibly jump across to his teammate up there. So I got to believe that's why Quickstep want Fausto Masnada in this front group. Now, there's 4 other riders for company up there, and it's Jeffrey Bouchard from AG2R, Oscar Only from DSN, Simone Velasco from Astana, and Jonas Grego from UNO-X. These 6 riders are only given a 1-minute gap when the cameras come on with 65 kilometers to go, because Cofidis is back there chasing full gas, and Israel Premier Tech want a shot at a field sprint here on stage 6. They start coming into this 6-kilometer climb with just under 40 kilometers to go as we see the peloton start getting nervous. 1-2 kilometers after that, it's going curb to curb as all the GC teams and the sprinter teams are fighting to be at the front to start this climb with about 33 kilometers. Now, as we come into the climb, we see the breakaway up front of 6. They start blowing up. Jeffrey Bouchard, AG2R, he throws in attack to try to stay off from the field chasing behind. He's not going to have much hope, though, because behind the Solarism is going to put on a show here. He's tacking early in the climb here for UAE Team Emirates, and right away he gets a gap on the group behind. Now, we still see the sprinter teams back there, Cofidis chasing, Israel Premier Tech chasing, and then it's going to be a kilometer or 2 later when all of a sudden we're going to see Bahrain Victorious get on the front. Now, why are they chasing? Well, they're sitting 4th on the general classification with Landa, and up the road after this climb is a 3-second time bonus sprint with about 8 kilometers to go on the stage, so Soler has to go a long ways to make it. Bahrain Victorious isn't panicking too much as they're riding the front back there for Landa to try to protect his general classification from Soler. Now, why is it the Solarism up here, and why is he a big-time knucklehead? Well, it's a long ways to go to that 8 kilometers to go for that sprint time bonus, and tomorrow is a big-time stage that's going to blow up. The finishing circuit that they'll do 7 times tomorrow has a super hard, stiff climb in it, and it blows up every year. Just as you're going to watch this race soon blow up, we know tomorrow's race is going to be spectacular. So why Solarism wants to go up the road right now when you have such a big stage coming tomorrow just to try to gain some time bonuses, that's highly unlikely at this moment when he's attacking up the climb, is beyond me. But behind, we see Bahrain Victorious chasing, as they should be, to keep Soler in check, and they got the gap at about 30 seconds. Now, we get near the top of the climb, just about 500-600 meters to go. You look on the left side of the picture, just behind Primoz Roglic, about 8th, 9th spot back there from the front. It's Remco Evenepoel, and he's going to throw in a massive attack from the left side of the road. He'll come by Primoz Roglic, but Roglic isn't quite ready for it, as Remco Evenepoel's got a gap. Remco Evenepoel's flying off the front of the peloton. Primoz Roglic is hot on the wheels, but there's still a gap there. The Slovenian will pull him back just as they're about 400 meters, 300 meters to go on the climb. And then Primoz Roglic is locked in the Belgium's wheel. Now, within 200-300 meters, Roglic has got the gap to Soler down to about 20 seconds, 15 seconds thereabouts. And when we come up to the KOM, it's Soler going over first, full gas. But Remco Evenepoel is in a full sprint going over the KOM, and he's just 10-15 seconds behind Soler. We look back in the peloton, it's total chaos back there going down the descent as Bahrain Victorious is on the front, but they got it down to about 30 man group back there as riders are getting popped off the back left and right. I saw Hayter swinging on the back there for Ineos. He had his teammate Geraint Thomas just in front of him, but they're still locked on. But their last wheel back there in the peloton up front, Remco Evenepoel's flying down the descent. Primoz Roglic is not helping at all. The Slovenian is sitting on the wheel. Why is he sitting on the wheel and why is he not pulling? Well, earlier in the stage, there was a sprint points competition already that Primoz Roglic had won, taken 3 bonus seconds, and Remco Evenepoel had only gotten second place for 2 seconds. So now Primoz Roglic is 11 seconds ahead of the Belgian rider. There's no reason for him to pull. Now, just under 19 kilometers to go, you see Remco Evenepoel. He's coming up to Marc Soler, and he's coming up fast. Won't be shortly after they catch Soler that Remco Evenepoel, we see on the bump, he's going full, and he's got a gap on Soler coming off the back. I don't know exactly how Marc Soler came off the back, if he just got ridden off completely being maximum, or if he sat up thinking this wasn't a wise move because the cameras missed it. But Primoz Roglic knows he better stay with the Belgian rider as he's locked in on Remco Evenepoel's wheel. Behind, again, as Soler is getting caught from the Bahrain Victorious chase back there, we look at the back of the peloton. It blew up. Ethan Hayter, the sprinter from Ineos, is coming out the back with Geraint Thomas trying to get him back on. They're not going to have any more luck, and Ethan Hayter's day here at Stage 6, Volta a Catalunya, trying to win the sprint, is over at this moment. Now up front, Remco Evenepoel. Man, the Belgian kid, he's got some form. He's shining all over the place and using efforts all over. Bit of a knucklehead at this moment because there's no way Primoz Roglic should pull with the Belgian kid. He's not going to do it. 2 kilometers later, Remco's arguing again and flicking his hand out, but the Slovenian won't do it. Even has a little conversation. Didn't catch exactly what he said, but bit of a chuckle. I think it came out with something like, "No way am I pulling with you. There's no reason for it at this moment. I got 11 seconds on you on the general classification. But if you want to pull me to that 8-second time bonus sprint so I can take some more on you, I'll go ahead and do it." With that in mind, Remco just still keeps pulling on the front. It's not till about 10 kilometers to go that finally Remco realizes with the sprint time bonification coming up 2K later that there's no way he's going to beat the Slovenian. So he sits up, and all of a sudden one goes to the right side of the road, one's on the left side of the road. One Belgian rider's really angry at one Slovenian rider who wouldn't work with him. But there's no reason why Primoz Roglic would work with Remco Evenepoel. It would be a catastrophic move to do it. And then, of course, have a mechanical or flat. I give you guys this scenario all the time when you see race leaders leaving their team when they don't have to. So Primoz Roglic, as wise as he has been these last 2 weeks of racing here in 2023, he kills everything and it starts to come back together because AG2R come to the front of the peloton. Now with AG2R on the front, they'll wrap up the 2 riders in front, and it's only 1 kilometer to go to the time bonus bonification sprint up there. We see Jumbo-Visma get on the front trying to lead out Primož Roglič. Remco Evenepoel, I don't know how he's doing it, but he comes up the left side and just blows the doors off Primož Roglič in the sprint time bonus here to get back that 1 second he lost earlier in the stage. Primož does get second. Third, Marc Soler. The Solerism came through and got his 1 second time bonus. Now moves up to fourth on the general classification. After that, Marc Soler is like, forget you guys, I'm going to throw in attack. He does. Primož Roglič has gapped off behind Remco Evenepoel. So Remco Evenepoel looks back and he's like, I'm going. He goes full gas. Primož Roglič has to close it again. Primož, this was the first mistake you made right here, was opening up the gap to Remco Evenepoel. Never leave the Belgian rider's wheel, as I've said earlier here on the butterfly effect. With that gap closed, all of a sudden it's Mikel Landa throwing in attack. Now, when Mikel Landa throws in attack, I got to point this out because this is a little funny back here between Remco Evenepoel and Primož Roglič, who were just arguing a couple kilometers earlier. Now they're fist bumping each other. Remember back there on stage 1 when they were all happy and they crossed the line when Primož Roglič won? Remco Evenepoel was second and they had their arms wrapped around. Then 2 kilometers before the sprint time bonification, they were arguing and fighting with each other. Now Landa's going up the road attacking and they're fist bumping each other, so everything's all made up and all peachy and creams again. Now with Landa being brought back, we're going to see the next attack from Ciccone. The Trek Segafredo riders going full gas. Then we're going to see Jumbo-Visma hop on the front because they want to neutralize everything at this point in time. We see one Caja Royale rider throw an attack, but Jumbo-Visma's on the front. They're keeping it under wraps. Then when we get under 4 kilometers to go, I want you to look at the picture of the 2 Alpecin de Koenig riders side by side. That's Kaden Groves. He's already won a stage here at Vuelta a Catalunya, and he's talking to Conchi. They're having a bit of a discussion there as Conchi will pull Kaden Groves up to the front to Sander Meeuws's wheel. Now on the radio there, we see it's Kaden Groves hopping on the radio. He's having a bit of a discussion, and then all of a sudden you start seeing the 2 riders in front start looking back. Sander Meeuws looks back right over his shoulder, sees his sprinter there. Number 1 rule on the butterfly effect, you always stay with your leader, right? Now all of a sudden we'll see both those 2 riders move over to the right side of the road. Guess what? Kaden Groves has got a slow flat, so he's got to do a change. We see Sander Meeuws and Kaden Groves sitting second wheel, pulling off to the right, and they're going to do a cyclocross style exit of the bike as we see Kaden Groves throw his bike to the right side and jump on Sander Meeuws's wheel. Now Meeuws gives a big time push, and all of a sudden Kaden Groves is back on the bike going full gas. First thing I'm thinking when I'm sitting on the butterfly effect, as you folks should be at home, does the bike fit Kaden Groves? Well, you see Kaden Groves sit on the saddle. You see the extension of his legs. And I'm thinking, he can make this work. He could still win this sprint. We got some time. Takes him just about 200 meters, and there's his teammates in front. Conchi at the back there in the caravan cars. Conchi's going to do a massive pull for Kaden Groves to get him back on to the back of the peloton in what was about 1 kilometer. So in 1 kilometer time, we see Kaden Groves change with Sander Meeuws. This is what I'm talking about. This is the perfect example why you always want a teammate with you. Remember all those times when we're up in the mountains and I'm saying all the race leaders should always stay with their teammates for as long as possible. If he went and changed with the car, it's over for Kaden Groves for any shot at winning here at stage 6. But if he changes with his teammates, now 1 kilometer later, and we're talking about 2.8K to go, he's on the back of the peloton there. Now we look up front, it's Jumbo-Visma on the front, still going full gas, trying to keep everything under control. Then we're going to see the FDJ rider Bruno Armai throwing in an attack. Jumbo-Visma stay on the front. When we look at the back of the peloton, now go halfway to the middle of the peloton. There we see Kaden Groves. He's in the middle of the peloton, and there's only 60 guys left in this race because it's blown up all over the place because it's Vuelta a Catalunya and we're not up at the Classics, so we're missing a bunch of those flat guys that pull with power all over the place. With that in mind, Kaden Groves, we know he's got a shot because we're coming under 2 kilometers to go. Up front, Jumbo-Visma's pulling full gas still till just about 1.1 kilometers to go, and then we see the Jumbo-Visma rider pull off, and it's time for Quick Step to go to work. Soudal, Quick Step hop on the front. They start going full gas as Bruno Armai, FDJ, still got a gap. 600 meters to go. Bruno Arma is wrapped up and everything's all back in play here. And Kaden Groves is at the front of the peloton with a shot of winning stage 6. Now we go under 450 meters to go. Matteo Cattaneo, pseudo quick steps on the front, throwing in his last big dig for Remco Evenepoel, second on the general classification. And we'll see Kaden Groves just behind Primoz Roglic. Just behind him's Brian Cocard, the sprinter from Cofidis. Let me remind you, their team's been working all day long. Now with the hit from Cattaneo, he's going full gas. And we'll see just behind, with 300 meters to go, all of a sudden we see Conrad start coming in the picture for Bora Hansgrohe. Conrad's got his teammate Ada Schelling back there, who's been third multiple times here during this week of racing. And Ada Schelling has to bump a little bit with Max Van Gils from Lotto Soudal. At the same time that's happening, we look up front and it's Kaden Groves. Kaden Groves is moving over to the left side of the road and he's bumping with the AG2R rider Gordon. Now we see him, he pushes Gordon all the way out to the left side of the road. He's got there the wheel of Remco Evenepoel. Now Bora Hansgrohe Conrad, he starts accelerating, he's coming up. All of a sudden, you look there, and we see a little bit of a switch again from Kaden Groves. Kaden Groves looks over, realizes that Bora Hansgrohe is going faster, so he pushes Ada Schelling with 250 meters to go straight off of Conrad's wheel. I mean, talk about abuse. Now, all of a sudden, Remco Evenepoel starts his sprint, but Kaden Groves needs an exit stage left. When he does, he pushes straight over about 200 meters to go on the Remco Evenepoel and pushes Remco Evenepoel completely out of the way. Totally legit. Everything's been fine, and I'm happy with all of the technique here from Kaden Groves as he's looking solid on the pedals. Now, Kaden Groves, Albacine de Koenigs hit the front. We look, it's 3 wide. Kaden Groves there on the left, in the sitter, Patrick Conrads, who's been doing the lead out for his teammate to the right of him, that's Schelling, as they're going full gas to the line. Now we look just a little bit further back, there's Brian Cocard following the wheel there of Kaden Groves. Kaden Groves going full gas as he's got a straight view to the line and he's going all the way in to throw his bike at the line to win today's stage 6 to grab his second victory here for Albacine de Koenigs. Congratulations, Kaden Groves. That was money. The 4-kilometer flat change there with Zander Mayus was beautiful. Conchi getting you back in. You had just under 2K to go to get from the back end of the peloton all the way up to the front. And then you just abused everyone. I mean, Dorian Gordon from AG2R, the bump to the left to throw him off the wheel. Then coming back and dislodging Ada Schelling, Bora Hansgrohe, like it was no effort whatsoever. Coming back over to second place on the general classification. Remco Evenepoel has been amazing throughout this stage and every stage since. Just abused him as you pushed him to the left, and then full on straight to the victory line for Kaden Groves to take 2 victories. In his interview, he said 1 was nice, but 2 makes me really happy. Now, we think about tomorrow's stage. It's going to be epic. It's going to blow up because this is Volta Catalunya. So you got a bunch of little guys and you got a bunch of guys who can't climb. But you're missing all those classic guys that are up north that are super strong that can hold the peloton together. While they're up there, that means the peloton here is going to come apart in tomorrow's race. Now, I started the show here with Carlos Verona telling you why the break was so hard to form today's stage. And I'm going to end it with Carlos Veronas because he's got a big-time smile on his face. And he says, yes, if he has the legs for tomorrow's stage, he's going in the break again. But you could be assured right up here on the butterfly effect that Remco Evenepoel, pseudo quickstep, is going to light the stage up tomorrow. So tune in, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next edition real soon.